I'm
Rah!
angry about cats.
When did we all get this dumb?
Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear warfare. I don't see any bodies, so it doesn't count.
I'm angry about cats.
I'm the chef. I want to hear one thing. Yes, chef.
Come on, man. Use your brain.
The Why I'm Angry podcast starts now.
All right, guys. It's the Why I'm Angry podcast. This is the chef. I am blurry on the screen here, but we'll figure that out in a second. We have a new host here in the studio, the Freestyle Man Cave studio here in Upper Dayton, and we're going to talk about quite a bit, I think. So let's get into it. Carson, let's see if I can get you on here. Yeah, there you are.
What up?
Glory.
Yep.
Got Carson Hughes here in the podcast. I'm really excited about that. We've got him in. He's kind of daisy fresh. He's one of those new guys, and I've known Carson since before he was Carson. So I've gotten to kind of see him grow up and kind of be an influence in his life. So it'd be cool to see how much I've actually gotten to impart here.
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, we're going to we got a few things to talk about. We're going to talk about. Let me get the list out here. We're going to talk about the Trump peace deal. We're going to talk about the government shutdown. We're going to finally address, and I've been meaning to, and just with life and all of the stuff that we go through in life. Things get in the way, time gets away from you, and podcasts don't get made. And so we're going to talk about Charlie Kirk, and kind of really it's probably a good time to start talking about it because now all of the dust is settled.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know a little bit more about it, and we can kind of give like from the back side of things. We got Fat Bears. We've got an article about people actually trusting the government, and I've got one other funny one that I can't remember what it is, but I've got it up here, so it'll definitely come about. So let's get into it. Oh yeah, the one was about Taco Bell.
Oh, nice. All right.
So that'll be good. There is. So yeah, let's talk about. Let's get into the government shutdown.
All right.
We've got the government shutdown is now in what day? Like 20, I think is.
Yeah, it's been a bit
like that. So it's been a couple weeks. From what I'm hearing, there really isn't a ton of motion. There's no there. The Democrats have doubled down on the fact of they need that $1.5 trillion. And that $1.5 trillion is to go to illegal aliens, undocumented immigrants, whatever you want to call them, to make sure they get health care.
Wow.
Repeal a bunch of the big, beautiful bill incomings.
Yeah.
The new things that they have just, they just want to repeal all those laws because it's not their idea for one. And what's sad is some of those things were things that they wanted to do years ago that now they're fighting against because Trump's name's on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think the interesting part is too, again, they say for the illegal aliens, whatever. But a government shutdown affects the economy. It affects all kinds of things while Trump's in office. So when people look back at this, they'll see, oh, Trump's in office, and then this happened, government shutdown, all these things, and it's blamed to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's also a tactic that they use along with it is just to pin Trump with as many things as they can to prevent a Democratic candidate winning in how many years?
Right.
3 more years. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I think it is, it's all part of, we got to keep our jobs. That's, and I think that something that we could do to curtail all of this infighting and stuff is honestly term limits.
Yeah.
It's something that we've talked about here on the podcast kind of extensively, but you know, all of this is just political rhetoric, and it's not helping the people. They're not fighting to help us.
Mm-hmm.
And so shutting down the government over, we had a continuing resolution from the Republicans, and not that we're all Republicans or we're all Democrats or whatever. Um, we're all free thinking people.
Right.
Really, we should be. And if you're not, and you're just listening to us, then you're part of the problem. And if you're just
Correct.
listening to MSNBC, you're part of the problem. And if you're just listening to Fox, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
Think for yourself, get out there and figure out what you think is the best for the country. And that's what we're doing here is we're thinking this out, that, they shut down the government, but why are they shutting down the government? It's not because they're arguing about, pennies here.
Right.
It's because it looks better for one side than the other to shut down the government. And I don't even think it looks better for the Democrats to shut down the government, because they're now shutting down the government because the Republicans came with a continuing resolution that literally was the same Biden era resolution that we had before. Everything is at Biden levels. What they want to do is come in and change the level to whatever, lower the burden of healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that the military is funded and the veterans are getting paid and things like that, which is, personally, we've been going through the fight on that, and I've kind of talked about that a little bit here and there. That veterans are being kind of squeezed out at the moment, especially our oldest veterans. That the things that they're now going through, and that is not being covered because they could just wait it out. At 70, 80 years old, you just wait it out a little bit,
Right.
and maybe they're gone.
Yeah.
And not maybe they're gone, they are gone.
Right.
And we didn't take care of their final days, and we didn't take care of them for taking care of us.
Yeah.
And so I think we've lost sight, and like I've always said, the government thousands of miles away is not going to take care of you as well as the people in your community.
Absolutely.
And so we're giving them millions and billions and trillions of dollars every year to do what? What are, when it comes down to the government, what is the government supposed to do for us?
Yeah. Was that a legit question?
If you want to answer it, you can. It's a question I ask a lot.
Yeah.
So it's, it's sometimes it's rhetorical.
Right.
But if you want to, what do you think?
Well, a couple things. I think people overemphasize how much impact that the government does have. Because everyone, and even me, whenever Joe Biden was in office, we're looking forward to Trump. Our lives are going to change. Everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that Trump has to remove, but I think it's just a broken system in general. I think we are pushing towards a point that we cannot fix, in a sense, especially with the debt problem. And they're worried about money. Well, we haven't been worried about money because we just keep pushing that number up. And where's the ceiling is what the question is. And trading the market, it looks scary. It doesn't look good. We had a sell-off the other day as well. I think it was like a 3% sell-off just as soon as Trump announced his tariffs on China. So yeah, anyways, I just think it's a broken system, but I think there's definitely corruption on both sides too. Not all Republicans are good.
Right.
And that's just the truth. And especially in the last couple months for me, I'm sure we'll get to this stuff later, but there's been some more questioning from me as well from, okay, why do I believe this? Why is this the case? Have I been indoctrinated? And there's some things that I can say, and it's crazy to think about, that I've definitely been indoctrinated on and was not I guess, correct biblically from a Christian standpoint as well.
Right. And we all, we all learn from our environments. And that's one thing. Like I was kind of blessed that I grew up in a farm community in northern Ohio, and like podunk nothing. Like we lived 8 miles from Hicksville. Literally, like
Yeah.
there is an actual Hicksville, and it is 8 miles from Farmer, Ohio, where I grew up. And the biggest thing to come out of Farmer, Nay, Sherwood, that area that our school was in was Ned Garver, who was the last 30-game winner on a 100-game loss team.
Wow.
Yeah. And he didn't even and you think, oh, he 30-game winner, he should have money, blah blah. He didn't make his millions off of baseball.
Wow.
This was back in the time when you didn't make your money off of like the game that kids play. You made money. You made 3 times what the national average is. But at that time, you just think about this. This is 75 years ago, in the 50s. You were making 18 to 30,000 a year, and 30,000 a year was 3 times the national average.
It's insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they make, we just were talking about it. Kirk Cousins gets $200 million deal to be Tupperware.
Literally,
for Penix. And in that, that's not anywhere close to 3 times the national average of what people make.
Mm-hmm.
Most people make, the poverty line, I think they said last time was 45,000.
I think that's the average around about.
And the average home makes somewhere around 65 to 75,000. I think is where things were at. And so if we were back in that time, the average baseball player would make about $1.5 million or so, or no, a couple $100,000, and they would, retire to do whatever. They're 40 years old. They go on and play whatever,
right,
or do whatever. And nowadays they make millions of dollars, and then they go on to be broadcasters and make millions more, and things like that. And no hate or shame or anything like that to people who make great money. Just the fact of the matter, we always used to work hard, and the things that we grew up with, and I guess going back off the bunny trail back to why I was saying where I grew up. We grew up, there was one atheist teacher that proselytized atheism. There may have been more teachers that were atheists, but he was the one that pushed it out. And my parents, luckily, as a kid, my mom, who had the same teacher because we went to the same school.
Wow.
Yeah. She knew about him, and she had walked out of his class before because he was, he'd make fun of Christianity, or he would say this and that. And so she literally told us, if he starts pushing atheism, you walk out. So we were taught at a super early age, fight the system, not everything, question people, and question your teachers, question your, everything.
Yeah.
And honestly, the Bible even says to question your leaders with the Bible and with the Word of God, so that that they're walking the right path and that you should be following that path.
Absolutely.
Don't just follow anyone blindly. Like if you just, if you're just following that person blindly, then, if they go in, if they fall off the cliff like lemmings, then you fall off the cliff like lemmings also.
Right.
That kind of thing. And I think that's it's just good to take that time all the time and just look back and say, where am I being indoctrinated? Have I looked at that thing wrong? Have I done that? And so that's why we have, even on this podcast, we have the conversations that we have, because honestly, I was just telling you that, I've been in conversations on the podcast and thought, all right, you're right. We've talked about it, whether incarceration is supposed to be, whether you're supposed to be rehabilitated or whether you're just doing your time as a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And things like that, whether we're supposed to be educating people in jail. You know, is it just jail for the sake of, you know, you're in timeout as a kid and you're supposed to be in timeout learning a lesson about, you know, think about what you've done type
Yeah,
thing,
right.
or is it really just a punishment for doing the crime?
Yeah,
And so I think that kind of runs into it. What is the government really supposed to give you? And really, when it comes down to nuts and bolts, brass tacks, what they're supposed to give you is safety,
yeah,
and that's it. And what is that? What does that really entail? That entails, you know, I guess an army,
yeah,
police. Your federal government should just give you a safe border, and maybe they've, you know, and you've got an army to protect your country. And you can argue that sending the army out to blah 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 Israel, Afghanistan, wherever, you know, Japan, China, whatever,
right.
you know, that keeps us safe because we're keeping the fight there,
Yeah,
which you can kind of say it's done a good job. We haven't had a war on our soil that we didn't create, um, other than when Japan attacked
that's
us
what I was
during
gonna
World
say.
War II, and that really wasn't a war. That was just one miscalculation, if you ask the Japanese.
Yeah, and on an island, so it
Right,
doesn't even
right,
not
yeah.
even the motherland.
It, which is really cool if you ever get a chance to go to like Pearl Harbor. Yeah, it is just a humbling place. You can tell, like if you just feel, you can feel the spirit there. It just feels like something major happened.
Yeah,
You know, if you go to different places like that, like, you know, Gettysburg and stuff like that, you can just feel that something happened on these grounds. You know, type thing.
for sure.
And Pearl Harbor's one of those places. But anyhow, so really to me, and that's probably goes to my like strict constitutionalist like feelings that, you know, your government really should just provide you with safety. And then if you trickle it down to your state's going to take better care of you than your federal government, because you're less of a number to them. And then your county governments should take care of you better than your federal government and your state government,
Mm,
because those should be the people, you know, taking care of you.
right.
You know, and so if you want programs and stuff, they should come out of, you know, your local county or your city more than they should come out of your state or your federal.
Yeah.
So
I do think the one thing that you have to add to that, what the federal government does, at least from my standpoint, is freedom as well. Because just for example, if you look at like communist countries, their whole goal, okay, everyone's safe, is kind of like a, oh, what's the word? Where everything's great and happy.
oh yeah, utopia. They're
Utopia.
trying to make a
That's their goal,
utopia.
where everyone's equal, everyone gets paid the same, everything is no incentive. It's just these lines. Um, so I think, and they're all safe. That's all good. But without that freedom, what does safety really mean?
Right.
You know what I
And
mean?
but I think if you just dwindle it down to they're going to provide us a safe space,
Hmm.
they provide us a safe space to do what we want.
For
It
sure.
is
I
freedom.
would agree.
That you're not making a law that you can't drink Mountain Dews, or you're not making, you know, they shouldn't be sitting there making a law based off of, you know, honestly, as much as vaccines and things have been in the news and been a thing, your federal government shouldn't control your vaccine program.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to get babies to take, and I talked about this, I think, last podcast, but they're trying to get babies to take the hep B, no, it's either the hep B or the influenza B vaccine.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, I said it right on the last podcast, so, you know, give me grace on this one. But it's the HPV vaccine.
Hmm.
And HPV is a sexually transmitted disease, and they want to get it into babies because they don't know when the next time they'll get a chance to vaccinate these kids.
Yeah.
Well, that's the stupidest like junk there is. Like I understand that, yeah, inner city kids, you may not get another. There's a lot of kids that fall through the cracks. Inner city farm kids, whatever, that never come back to the doctor. But unless your kid is like wrestling at 3 years old, or it has to come from saliva, or it has to come from bodily fluids.
Yeah.
So my kid isn't, doing those things.
Right.
They're not having, they're not having sex at 5 or 3 or whatever. So we're, just why is the federal government trying to control that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the reasons for that, at least from a Christian standpoint, is that is the indoctrination of making us used to it, making us okay, what is this like? And oh my gosh, the COVID shot was not the mark of the beast. But just think about how many Christians who were forced as well. Like it really was. You lose your job if you don't get this, and you can't provide for your kids if you don't get this. And I think about that all the time, future wise. Like, oh, gosh, man, when I have kids one day, I'm going to have to pick between putting the food. Who knows the time or the hour, but pick between putting food on the table for them and selling my soul. Like it's going to get to that point for some people, even if it's not us here on earth.
Well, and I guess just to walk right into it, they did over the last couple weeks set up signed a bill to start, digitizing all currency.
It's
not
crazy.
Just getting away with getting rid of the penny. Now we're getting rid of all, nickels, dimes, and everything. And when, this isn't Bitcoin. This is digital currency. Like, this isn't you pay. Oh, we already have digital currency because we pay on our card. Yeah, we do, and that's one thing. But right now, the government doesn't control all of that cash that we put on the cards. They don't. Like, each bank has its own system.
Not a government controlled bank.
And yeah, there's a regulatory system that kind of looks over it, as this is, will ensure it if for some reason the bank's robbed or there's a hacker or something like that. But this is that the government will actually release funds into the economy from the digital currency now.
Yeah.
Like they'll put more digital currency out into society. And I don't think people understand like the real science behind it, because I think it's hard for one to understand Bitcoin. For two, like, I don't think anybody realizes what they do when they make money, when money is being printed, that you're not just replacing bills. There's not just like there's if there's an infinite amount of something, it's not worth anything.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen that in diamonds over the last, like 5 or 10 years here, that, they used to mine diamonds, and that was the only way we could get diamonds.
Yeah.
And which is why we had so many slaves out there and blood diamonds and all of that, because you could only get so many diamonds. But honestly, they were never as rare as they made them out to be, because there was a monopoly over the diamond trade. One company basically bought all of the diamonds, and then they released so many out into the public. And so they kept a carat diamond at $1,000 or $2,000. They kept a 2-carat diamond at $5,000 or $10,000.
Yeah.
Kept, when in all honesty, if they released them all, there was plenty of diamonds out there that would have dropped the prices. Not to it wouldn't have killed the market, maybe, but you never know.
Right.
But
it's who's controlling the supply and the demand.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And if the government starts controlling the supply and demand, then trouble.
If the government can control every aspect of the supply.
Yeah.
Think about what they've done in the last 2 or 3 years with the Biden era. Like, they've weaponized everything that they could. The IRS. I mean, we had IRS agents busting into people's, like, we arm our IRS agents. Like they have guns. Like
Wow.
they're allowed to carry guns, bust into people's houses, take all of your property. Like you shouldn't be worried about the FBI. The FBI just has the same guns as the IRS,
Yeah.
but they can't take your property most of the time.
Yeah.
The IRS can take everything and they can just say, well, it's because he owes blah blah blah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They can take your land, they can the whole 9 yards. The FBI has to have at least a paper that's been signed by a judge. The IRS doesn't have to have a paper signed by a judge.
Yeah.
They just say you owe them and they execute that warrant.
Right.
So that's what they've done. That's what they're basically getting set up to do, is to make it even easier for the control of your money.
Yeah.
You know,
It's getting close.
it's getting scary.
It is.
Honestly. And we can say that the government, like you said in the beginning, the government, honestly, it didn't over the last 20 years, probably doesn't affect your life a ton.
Mhm.
The new guy comes in. If you're trading on the market or you're working in commodities or something like that, sure, it'll affect you a little bit, but it's going to affect you a percentage of your income.
Yeah.
You either bring in other income, you do different things to subsidize. It used to be gold, or you get a second job depending on what your income building capabilities are.
Mm-hmm.
And we as that's we go on. We figure out a way to get through it.
Right.
But when the government controls all of your money and it cuts off your source of income, your ability to income, all of that, that's a completely different game.
Yeah, that's
and that's what you were talking about, is with the mark of the beast. When you take the mark of the beast, that's how you're going to be able to trade. That's how you're going to be able to have money and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
You honestly, you hope it's as easy as there's a community around that are ready to barter.
Yeah.
At any
right.
moment.
Yeah, and there's.
But that the way that they continue to make life easy, that there's whole generations that have grown up. That I say whole generations. There's always a pocket of people that grow up and decide that they're going to do things on their own and they don't trust the government.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like there's less and less of a pocket of people in each generation that are there, growing their own food.
Yeah.
Or that could sustain, like, we have a big garden. We have a 35 by 40 garden. We grow a lot. But to actually sustain, to grow enough to cover our year of food, like, it takes a lot of tomatoes to grow enough tomatoes to can for a year. Green beans. We had like 4 rows of green beans. We got like 8 or 10 cans of green beans.
Wow.
How many green beans do you go through in a week? How many times do you open a can of green beans, or you go to the store and buy a handful or 2 of green beans for a meal a week? So there's a lot to it. And so we just, as a society, we honestly don't work that hard. We don't go to work and then come home and go out and weed our gardens for hours.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think for me too, it really gives me perspective every time I think about it, of like, as Christians, what we're still here on earth doing, like, what is our mission? Because sometimes I'll get caught up in chasing success, chasing wealth, chasing all those things, not idolizing, but like pursuit of that, because that's what we're here for.
Right.
But that's not our number one priority. Our number one priority is to get people saved and build the kingdom. And it puts that into perspective whenever you see all these things coming. It's like, wow, they're going to take all of that away from me. This is all I have, is to be able to spread the gospel.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, not that I don't do other things. I didn't even tell you, we coached a soccer game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Championship game. Or this is like our championship game. We played the best team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
We were the second worst team in the league. Like not that we were a bad team, but we didn't get wins. We didn't win a game. We tied 2 games. We lost 8 games, and then we won the first game of our playoffs. So first game of the season we won was in the playoffs. So we took on Newton. Newton won. If you're in the 12th grade, U12 soccer community, you know who they are. They're the best in the area. They've won every game. They've never been anywhere close to losing. We decided we had a strategy. We took it to them. We actually went ahead in the first quarter, led them to the third quarter. They tied us up in the third quarter, 1-1, all the way to the end of the game.
Wow.
Yeah, we lost 11-0 to them the first time we played them.
Yeah.
Second time we've played them 4 times. We played them twice in the last 2 weeks. And then the second time we played them, we lost 4-0. So we've been beaten pretty bad by them.
Yeah.
So to take them to the end of the game, 1-1, into penalty kicks, and we lost by 1 penalty kick.
Wow.
It was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
So there are things that I do that are not just strictly, preaching the gospel.
Right.
Yeah. And you'll hear it a lot on this podcast. We do say, we do talk about the gospel and stuff a lot on the podcast. But there are things that we still do. But once the government takes control of all of that, your money and everything, the only thing you're going to do is try to survive.
Right. Yeah.
Is figure out how to survive. And if you have no skills,
yeah. Cling tight to your faith.
All of that building wealth and things like that can be shut off in a second. Like, it's just like if you were in China, you would know. Like, they have a digital currency, and they also have a social media or social credit score. And if you don't follow the government's policies to a certain percentage, they put you on a list and they cut you off.
It's crazy.
And you can't get lending, you can't get funding, you can't, you have no money. Like, they control you, like, they're like, all of your money, is in the Bank of China, and unless you have somehow, which is illegal, Bitcoin's illegal in China. Why is Bitcoin illegal in China? Because they don't control that.
Right.
So if they don't control it, then so you're just out.
Yeah.
But so this is the part where we say goodbye to the live people.
Alrighty.
Like, it's been I told you it was going to go fast.
Yeah, it has.
That 30 minutes. We're at 33 already. If you want to continue with us, we're on the podcast on anywhere you get your podcasts, on Spotify, on Amazon, on Apple, on YouTube, all of those other weird ones that Pod Chaser and all of those guys also, and Spreaker is where we get the most out of it. So if you go to Spreaker.com, grab our podcast. You can become a member, and you'll get the full podcast without commercials. If for just, I think it's $1.25 a month. We've got a special going on it. We've had a special for like a year just to keep it as low as possible.
Yeah.
And it's like $1.25 a month. That basically keeps the lights on here, keeps new journalists and anchors and podcast creatives and things like that on our show, and it also helps us keep the website going. We've got some new stuff coming, and we'll kind of chat about that in the next podcast, because I've got a site building. We've got some affiliate marketing coming, so that we can also build. If you don't want to just give us $1 a month, you can go buy something with our name on it, so that you can continue to support our podcast. So appreciate you guys. I know it's a short live podcast, but again, we've got to get you on our podcast where we're able to make a few dollars off of you guys by bringing by just checking out the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we actually make some money, and we appreciate you checking in, and listen to the rest of it later.
Peace.
Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcasts. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now.
All right, we're back. Appreciate you guys. If you're listening to it now, you're listening to the podcast, and this is the Why I'm Angry podcast. Here with Carson Hughes. And again, we're just kind of chatting about government shutdowns. There was a poll put out. It was, I don't remember whether it was yesterday or the day before. Anyways, it's in the last couple. 10.
Yeah.
Yep. That says that a record 62% of Americans say that the federal government has too much power. They started tracking this back in 2001 with the Gallup poll. And then last year they checked again. I mean, I've checked it incrementally through the years. And they've gone kind of, looks like the belief has surged from 25% to 66% this year to now, like they've got 62% on the actual poll. And last year was 51%. And so I just kind of like, they don't really say if it's, who's polling, who they're polling. Are they really getting, a full scale of it? Is it just the Democrats whining that that the government has too much power, when really the Democrats over the last 8 years, or last 12 out of the last 16 years have put this amount of power into the government's hands? Or are they just whining because CNBC says let's whine?
Right. Yeah, I mean, even in the poll, it says that this year for Republicans, we're at 58% that think the government has too much power. Which just kind of shows that even with Trump in office, that but it's a sticky topic in my opinion, because even you look at when GM was about to go down, and then the government stepped in and funded them, like, because we say like the government isn't supposed to help businesses and leave individual businesses alone. But how would that have affected the economy? Would GM have gone under? Would that have caused a chain reaction? That's why it's tough. Like, they saved GM, and that helped the economy. That helped all of us in our day-to-day lives, in some capacity, I would say. So that's why I think it's tough to say they should be hands off all businesses, all everything.
So we talked about that actually in the last one or two podcasts, and I honestly feel a little differently about it. And I think in the short term, yes, it definitely helped the economy, because GM employs thousands of people,
Mm-hmm.
and for them to have just completely lost their jobs right then that day would have been devastating.
Yeah.
Like the implications on the economy that day would have been astounding, and we would still be feeling it today. But my thought on the long range health of companies like GM or like Ford, or that
Mm-hmm.
that just set it down, that did all of that, is that because they weren't allowed to fail, another company didn't come up in its wake. That there wasn't a new GM, like AMC failed. It was a car company back in the 70s, and they became GM.
Yeah.
A bigger, more healthy, stronger company. GM, because they weren't allowed to fail, they still have all of that dead weight.
Yeah.
That was killing them before.
Yeah.
And with that, now the government controls a certain percentage of GM. They have a certain vested interest in GM, And so that way they can also tell GM to make this or this. And, you know, when it's Democrats, they're telling them to make certain cars. And when it's not Democrats, they're telling them to make other cars. And that's not healthy for a company to retool every 4 years
Yeah,
because
that's
you've
true.
got a new government.
True.
So, you know, and it's the same thing with Intel. Intel is ready to fail, like right now.
Yeah.
Like if you look at their actual financials and the mistakes that the board has made,
Yeah.
they should fail. But because the government owns part of Intel, because the government has bailed out Intel, the other companies like AMD and that have made good decisions have really made the decisions that made sense for the future aren't allowed to take over the Intel space and be stronger and better and make us better.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, I think the idea of making America great and, just that greatness that we have, it's not about the fact that America itself is great. It's a fact of that if somebody there is always that person behind you that is going to be greater or better than you are.
Yeah.
Carnegie and the Rockefellers could never have seen Google or AMD or Intel or Bill Gates or any of those guys coming.
Yeah.
They would have never seen that. But those guys were the same type of guys. And so they built the millionaires. The next group built the billionaires.
Yeah.
And we'll see very shortly with AI in that, we'll see trillionaires.
Yeah. That's funny you mentioned Intel. I bought some Intel before the government took a role in their company.
Right.
But I've sold everything now. But before the market rolled over, I liquidated everything. I was like, I'm done. But I guess I have a question. What would you say on the other side of the spectrum when there's companies that are monopolies that control everything? So like even with housing, those big companies that buy all the single family homes and so it's the same thing. They control the supply and demand. They control it and they jack those prices up. They damage how hard it is. They make it hard to buy a home. So I guess on that side, how would you say government intervention with that?
So to me, there's two ways to look at it. There are monopolies like Microsoft, who created the best platform with the best internet server, and they were creating two really great products that nobody else had. Nobody else had anywhere close to as good as. And they got broken up as a monopoly because they controlled too much market share. Not on the fact of that they were, when they created the monopoly laws were created to curtail adversarial business practices. Like Rockefeller was a jerk and a half, like a Christian jerk, but a jerk and a half. He was out there buying up oil companies.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he did it was he cut off their train supply because he bought the trains.
Wow. Yeah.
And he would lower his oil costs or his oil prices way below these small oil companies in their area and start selling to their places. And so when their cash flow dried up, he would buy them on pennies to the dollar.
Right.
And so and it didn't cost him that much to drop his price to be able to buy, to do hostile takeovers. Like if they were funded wise, he would just buy out all the shares of stock.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of, because that's what that you do some trading on the stock market, is that if you buy over 50% of the stock in shares of a company, you own the company.
Yeah.
And we as regular folks, but as we can say that, we buy such small amounts of stock
Yeah.
that we're never going to get close to that. But when when you're dealing in monopolies and stuff, if you're adversarial, the government can step in. But if you're just the best product, then the government shouldn't step in.
Mm-hmm.
Like that monopoly, it'll stand for a while, but at some point, like you're not going to innovate when there's nothing more to innovate.
Right.
Somebody else is going to come behind you and innovate your whole thing. This, it's like washers and dryers or whatever. You know, when you're the best, when you're Maytag or whoever, then you don't see that there's some other problem to fix.
Yeah.
And somebody will come underneath you like LG or something, and now they add Wi-Fi to your washer,
Mm-hmm.
and now you've lost this much. Whirlpool used to have, it was some place crazy like 85% of the market share because they owned Amana, they owned Whirlpool, and because I used to sell them, I know a little bit about their appliance deal, and so and they bought out Maytag at one point. And so they literally had 85% of the market share. Well, now today, because there's LG, there's whoever Chinese brand, they've raised the prices. They only last for 3 to 5 years. All of these things. Now they only carry about 48% of the market share.
Mm-hmm.
And at one time, they could have been considered a monopoly. But because they weren't adversarial 100% adversarial, they were buying out other companies like Maytag and that. And you can say, that's adversarial because they're taking over all of their competition.
Yeah.
But in that, they were allowed to let the market actually correct it. And yes, appliances are super expensive still for no apparent reason, because back in the 40s and 50s, 60s, you could buy a refrigerator for a couple $100.
Yeah.
Or, if that, and they would last 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
Now, because they literally told us, as salespeople, they literally told us, like these things aren't going to last for 20 years or 10 years.
Yeah.
Sell the warranties, sell the whatever. They're going to last, like they're built to only last 5 to 10 years. You look at the plastic in your refrigerator, you're going to realize it's not, they got little LEDs that you would buy at, off of Temu or something like that, wish.com. And,
yeah,
you're that's what they're lighting your refrigerator with now. They used to light it with an actual light bulb that you screwed into a socket and whatever.
Yeah.
And now it's just an LED that they probably cost a penny to make.
Yeah. Keep you coming back.
Right.
Yeah. And with that example you gave with Microsoft, I think the difference is Microsoft, like there's so many tech companies out there that just keep popping off. So even even though Microsoft is the biggest, I don't know if that would necessarily take away from opportunity for other.
Well,
companies.
They did. They actually got shut. They got hit with a monopoly lawsuit back in the early 2000s.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
And it was because that they had it was Microsoft operating system, Windows, and on every operating system they put their web browser on it. And so their web browser was the best web browser there was at that point. There wasn't anybody else out there making a web browser that, for one, was any good.
Yeah.
And so because of that, a couple companies that were making web browsers that weren't as good went on and said, well, we can't get any market share because they automatically put their web browser on all of these operating systems. Well, obviously, it makes sense that they do that.
Right.
But they're also building market share into two different areas, two different sectors of the tech market. And so they had somewhere around 90% or 95% of the market share, but there wasn't anybody else out there really creating something better. And instead of focusing on creating something better that was more intuitive, that, whatever.
Yeah.
They focused on the law that they could get them for, what they considered adversarial marketing practices by making people have that product.
Yeah, I think I mean, back then there wasn't nearly as much advancements in technology. But I don't know if I would agree with the other companies going after. I mean, even now, like with Nvidia and AMD, it's whoever comes out with the best chip. Whoever comes out with the newer, the best chip, that's who's gonna go up.
And that's how it should be,
Yeah.
but it's not always that, because you look at JetBlue and Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
They were just going to merge together, and because that they held too much market share in certain areas, if they merged together, there were areas that they would be the only option. They could control the price.
Yeah.
And so instead of letting the two weak companies, they were going to come together and make a stronger company, flourish and thrive. And, you kind of give it up to chance that another company is going to come in and help correct the market price. Because here's the deal. Companies know that like if they came in and they raised their price, say they were in White Plains, New York, and the price they were the only two airlines flying in and out of, or they were the two lower airlines flying out of White Plains, New York, and they raise their rates 40%. Another place is going to come in and say, hey, we can do that for less than 40%,
Yeah.
that 40%. And they're going to come in and take their market share because they're no longer a low price airline, air carrier. And we've seen that. We've seen, even here in Dayton, we've seen low priced air carriers come in. And because we don't have a major following from JetBlue or from, Spirit Airlines and things like that. We're not a major hub for them. And so we've seen those things, happen.
Yeah.
But this is where we talked about with monopolies.
Yeah.
We give the government whatever power we want, and now your company can only get so big.
Yeah.
You're now controlled on what kind of market share you can get. And here's the saddest part about it, and this is the mindset I can see, is that if my company can only be so good, why would I make it better?
Yeah.
Why would I create it to be even better? If I already make a decent mattress and I make enough money for myself, why innovate the mattress to make it better?
Yeah.
Like to make, why anything? Why make your life better if I don't have to?
Right.
If I don't have to work harder, as sad as that is, I mean, that seems, but that's honestly the mindset we have in it, is why put more money into the research and development. It's why and it's part of why our infrastructure as a country is way behind Korea, way behind, some of these other countries.
Yeah.
It's partially because of that. Partially it's because Korea is about the size of, Massachusetts or something like that, or I didn't look it up, so I don't know exactly. I would say Pennsylvania or Massachusetts would be kind of the size. It's not quite as big as Georgia or something, I don't think, but that's, and we have thousands and thousands of miles to traverse with mountains and things like that to get our infrastructure better. But that's part of the reason why, is because we've settled for it.
Right.
When we just literally got rid of dial-up last week. Like October 1st was the last day you could have AOL dial-up.
Wow.
So, I'm pretty sure they kicked out AOL dial-up in Korea and Vietnam like years ago.
Yeah. Right.
So
yeah, no, it's tough. It's a tough thing to navigate. Just the control. It is tough, but I think it should be an incentive to new businesses to like strive to take, because I mean, if iPhone makes it $5,000 a phone, at some point a company's going to come in and say, I can do this exact same thing for the. I mean, that's
what you even said.
Yeah.
The country is to provide freedom.
Yeah.
And so if you don't provide a even playing field for everyone, and the only even playing field is to wipe out the playing field.
Yeah.
Like it's clear for everybody. Like there's no handouts, there's no hand-ups, there's no, you know, unless it comes from someone in the free market. That's the only way you have a free market, is by having a a level playing field. Nobody gets it because they were born and blah blah blah.
For sure.
And so that's the thing. That's why I said, even with safety, if the government can provide safety and provides you that that safety, then everything else is there for you.
Yeah.
Like even if a company were to say they like most people don't understand or haven't seen this because the tech is everything. But GE is still one of the world's biggest companies because they have a billion patents. They have a million patents on everything, and because they have their hands in everything.
Yeah.
And everything from circuit boards to the fan that you buy, circuits in the projectors and TVs and all of that. They create everything,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of everything, and so they're still. I mean, like at one point they were the biggest company in the world. Now I think Microsoft is like per capita.
Yeah.
Walmart is up there,
For
but
sure.
GE is still in the top 10 every year. And you don't see anything with GE on it anymore.
Yeah.
But they also the big electric capacitors and stuff like that you see on the giant poles and stuff.
Mm.
They create those.
Yeah.
They create the wire that it's kind of GE. GE slid a little when Radio Shack went out.
Yeah.
All of those little tiny little things that Radio Shack had. GE made a lot of those, or had patents for a lot of those. And so in that, they could become a controlling factor in a lot of different markets. Because for one, you can take that money that you've got from all of these markets, pull it together and put it into one market.
Mm.
And if you do that, if we're in a fully free society, in a fully free marketplace, the real thought about it is that if you do that, you lose market share somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the government doesn't allow that because they control who drops here, who drops that, So, like you said, GM loses their market share in cars or trucks or whatever, and they have to get smaller. Then all of these other companies, all of these other little startup companies, there's one in Detroit right now that I'm following, that this guy basically took over a Ford plant, and he's literally just making a truck, and he's going to call it the Rebel or something like that.
Wow.
And he's literally just got rooms, and he's bought paint, and he's bought truck parts, and he's just going to start creating trucks.
Yeah.
And putting them out.
It's American dream.
Right. And
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That's it.
That's the free market deal.
Yeah.
And that guy gets a following of, how many ever million people that start buying his trucks, then he has market share.
Right.
And he can start building his market share beyond. And if people like his quality, he can decide whether he wants to go public or he can stay private, or he can, and that's how that's how you decide. And that's how the free market decides who's the best and who's not.
Yeah.
And so us as people as government officials saying, "Oh, they're too big to fail," is part of the problem.
Right.
Because no one's really too big to fail.
Yeah.
And, honestly, the Bible shows that, right? That no one really is beyond reproach.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that you don't see it because, you don't see it.
Yeah, for sure.
So it is, I mean, it's a long conversation. What is government for?
Yeah, I definitely have, and for me, I definitely have some things I want to refine in that understanding, even of capitalism and all of those things, especially as I get older. I want to have like a firm understanding of where I'm at on those things.
And I think that as a country or as a society in schools, we haven't taught exactly what capitalism is.
No,
And we
not at
haven't
all.
taught exactly what a republic is, as opposed to a democracy, as opposed to, all of that.
Yeah,
That we're not really a democracy, we're a representative republic.
yeah,
And things have, and the way that those two things are different is that if we were a straight democracy, then you or I would have the power to really actually vote, and what our votes would show is whoever was in office. Where with a representative democracy, we vote, but those votes for president, they don't really matter.
yeah.
Because although President Trump won with a sweeping majority of, I just bumped a sweeping majority of the electoral votes.
Yeah, and overall,
He didn't win with a ton. Like, it was like 2 or 3%, but that's 52% instead
Right.
of like 70% of the electoral votes that he really won with.
yeah,
And so there's just little differences like that you think, what really is the difference. But it is, there is differences. It is a different beast, and there is different levels of what we actually control and what we don't. But they don't tell us that, especially when we're growing up and going to school.
right. Yeah,
That we're not really 100% in control all the time.
yeah. No, we definitely aren't even close to 100%. Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, and really, you're in a good spot. I mean, especially with your mindset of like, saying, there's more stuff I want to, and I'm in the same way.
yeah,
There's more stuff I just, I haven't solidified everything.
yeah.
Nothing's written in pen, because it can all come down in pencil.
Right.
It can all be erased one day.
Yeah,
And, honestly, the only things that are really written in pen are the things that I read in the Bible.
yeah. And even with that stuff, you got to be a faithful skeptic.
And
yeah.
that's it. Yeah. And so some of it is because you're going to have a different understanding at different times. And then some of it's like, like we've talked about, if you believe in God with your whole heart, John 3:16.
Yeah.
You believe that Jesus died on the cross for your sins with your whole heart till the day you die, you're going to heaven. And that's honestly, if somebody changed the Bible tomorrow, or some preacher came out and said that that's not the way you get to heaven, I don't think I'm stopping and saying, I'm not giving that person the time of day. That's written in pen.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, no, I definitely think there are things that, I don't know. The only reason I think we as believers have to be careful is like, because I'm about to take a world religions class, or a Western religions, and it's Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. But like, how could I ever? And people say, why would you learn about that stuff? Like, aren't you worried you might? No, I'm not worried. I have faith in what I believe, but at the same time, how can I go up to a Muslim person and be like, you need to change your beliefs and come to Christianity, but I don't know a single thing about what you believe. I can't tell you anything.
And that's what we do a lot. Like, even Allison was in, she was working for the local parks department,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing some conference, and one of the ladies started talking about population control, and Allison's like, "No, this is like 100%. This is murder."
Yeah.
Or no, you're talking about killing babies and killing people because they don't fit into the population numbers that you think are acceptable to keep ozone layers down.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah,
this is the level of like, even, and this is just like this is a county, parks department going to a conference with other county parks departments, and she stands up for herself. Like, she is as strong of a person as I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And So she got in an argument with the person, and the person didn't have anything to say but, you need to change your beliefs. Well, you think Allison's like, no, oh, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
change my beliefs.
Right.
Yeah, that did it. Yep, I'm
Yeah.
changing my beliefs.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
That's a good
right.
example.
You know,
Yeah.
like, so, but we go to so many people like that,
Hmm.
you know, like, and we, you know, we believe that the Holy Spirit draws you, and you have, you know, if you're not drawn by the Holy Spirit, and honestly, that you know, enticing words of men's wisdom don't get you saved, you know, but it does help you portray Christianity to other people.
Yeah.
You know, having wisdom and having words of wisdom and the ability to speak what God has for you helps you a ton. You know, just not, you know, just educating yourself. It's like, you know, I like it when some people get drunk, they then like become philosophical and will, you know, then they want to talk Bible with you. I had a
Yeah.
brother-in-law that, you know,
And
would get three
yeah.
sheets to the wind, and then he would talk the Bible to you,
Yeah.
and you're like, dude, you're swimming in a pool. It's April, and you're in the pool talking. You know, now you want to talk about Galatians or whatever you read the other day.
Right.
Like,
No, it does open people
it
up.
does.
And I've seen that
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so definitely, and definitely, we'll definitely talk about, you know, your class and stuff and what you're hearing about, because that's interesting things
Hmm.
that definitely helps push the narrative out there to just learn,
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
continue learning.
For sure.
You know, like God, like Jesus didn't ever, like, he didn't ever stop teaching. Like, he taught up until, like, he's on the cross going, forgive him, Father.
You're right.
And like, that's one of the things that we are sitting here going, whoa, how do you know, we're still learning from that today.
Right. We use that all the
And
time. Yeah.
so I definitely think that's an important step in being a human being, let alone being a Christian,
Yeah.
is to continue on with that. So yeah, the nobody trusts the government, I guess, now.
Yeah, I
It's too
guess not.
big. Finally, people are seeing that it's too big, and I think I and this is the point that I even made in the beginning of the year. Trump's president. Woo!
Right.
But you can't follow him blindly.
No. And that's one of the
Like,
things
there
I've been
are
getting
things
to.
that he's
Yeah.
going to do that you go, whoa, 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 that's not our beliefs, or that's not our
Absolutely.
following, or that's not what we wanted. Um, and you can see even in the victory that was overturning Roe versus Wade, you can see that there are places in the U.S. that have more abortions than they did before.
Yeah.
Um, and you can see that there are places that have less.
Yeah.
And that's where that's where you get it, is that, you know, you get the government, you get the federal government out of our way, and some of us will actually do the right thing.
Yeah.
Some will still do the wrong thing, and there will be groups of those people, but you if you do it the right way, then you don't have to live with those people.
Right.
You know, as sad as it, you know, we can be separate from them. We can push away and be separate.
Yeah.
And, you know, at that same point, we're still supposed to live with them, and we're still supposed to continue to give them the gospel and continue
Right.
to give them their options and chances. But, you know, otherwise, I would probably be somewhere in Montana living on a property by myself,
Absolutely.
and just like say, peace out, guys.
Yeah. Go live in the apps.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done. You can do whatever with what you want, you know, but, you know, I continue to see that I cannot be.
We have a mission.
I am not an island on my own. I
Yeah.
have to, you know, affect the people around me.
Absolutely.
So
It's the hardest part.
yeah. So we've I mean, and adding into that, and this is just like one little segue off, is, you know, the continued Israel stuff. Like, I watched that with kind of a bated breath, because I'm like, this is literally what the Bible is saying. Like, when you hear peace on earth,
Yeah.
when you're hearing peace preached everywhere,
Yeah.
then you know that it's the time.
Yeah.
And other than I saw that, what is it? Afghanistan attacked Pakistan or something like that, or took the Taliban took over 25 cities or strongholds or whatever in it's like everyone else though is talking peace. Qatar,
Yeah.
they're going, there was we were supposed to um boycott the World Cup because of their human rights violations and all of that, and they're the one, they're ones where like, you really helped us out on this Israel deal. So great job. You're so awesome. You know, we haven't heard anything from Iraq for a while.
Yeah.
We're just, the Euphrates is dried up.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it's crazy. It's funny you mentioned that. I was watching Trump give the press conference with Minton Yahoo the other day. I think it was yesterday. It was yesterday.
yeah.
And he said that he was elected by world officials that he got together with to be like the leader of this peace organization. Like they wanted to get together and they wanted to create a world peace thing, and they all voted Trump as the head of that. And that's crazy. And I couldn't be so bold to say Trump's the Antichrist, but I'm also not bold enough to say that he's
not.
Sure, yeah.
Right. And there will be those, and it says there will be those that usher in the Antichrist, and honestly, that's why as Christians, as just free thinking people,
Right.
we have to look at it and go, like, anyone that steps up to take over all world power,
Yeah.
like, I watched Star Wars. I saw the Republic go down.
Yeah.
I know that, I've read, Revelations. I know that, and at the same time, in the end of it, what happens. We have the victory. It's just living it out and trying to live through the tough times at the end.
Right.
That is the scariest part about it, I guess.
Yeah. I think with Israel too, and we didn't get a chance to talk about this before, but like most of the Republican Party, which is known as the Christian Party most of the time,
right.
it's been back Israel, push forth Israel for as long as I've ever remembered. But like I look at Netanyahu, and I don't know if I see a man that I fully support. I really don't. And then I look at Israel as a Christian, and I think we need to separate, and this is the thing that I was talking about with indoctrination.
Right.
Israel is not, the state of Israel now is not what it was in Old Testament.
Right.
Jesus had not come. All of Israel is anti-Christ, against Christ. It is not for Christ. It does not support us. They do not agree with us. They do not think the world ends the same in any capacity. So why is there that understanding that, okay, Israel, yes, like we're going to push Israel, we're going to support Israel. And I can't even think about a reason of why as a Christian, other than the fact, because if someone asked me about the Israel issues before, maybe let's say a year ago, do we support Israel? I would defend Israel.
100%.
I don't know why I would defend it. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't now why people do it. Other than the fact of, well, Israel's in the Bible, and Israel was the king and whatever, who was a person that lived, and he's in the Bible. That's it.
Chosen people.
Yeah, right. And they were a chosen people. I don't think they are the chosen people anymore. I don't. I think that chosen people was extended to the Gentiles when Jesus came. And we know that it said that this gospel is not for you Jews alone. This is not just for you guys. Paul writes about that it was extended to the Gentiles. It's for all of us. We are the chosen people. So for me to not come from that heritage doesn't mean it would contradict a lot of our understanding of as Christianity.
I think, and this is just my thought as you were just saying that. and this, could be wrong or whatever. And I've always, and then this is also coming from me saying years ago, that anti-Semitism, the laws of anti-Semitism are racist.
Yeah.
They're not free. It's not free speech. It's all free speech except for if you speak against Jews.
Yeah.
And that's whatever. It's just that when you start to make those laws, we made anti-Semitic laws. You can say anything you want in public except for things against Jewish people.
Yeah.
Then it became hate laws. When I was in 5th or 6th grade, there was a gay kid that was hung against a fence and beaten and left there. And so they created that as a hate crime. And in that hate crime bill, they created hate speech.
Mm-hmm.
And so now anything that's considered hate speech, and it's all about, in the very beginning part of it, it's about trying to help people. Like, let's make sure that people who are lower, feel bad about themselves, people who are minorities, people who don't have as much opportunity because their color of their skin or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that they are protected.
Yeah.
Back in when they started the anti-Semitic laws, we decimated the Jews in World War II. Let's make sure that they have a chance to recover.
Yeah.
Without us continuing on with Nazism or whatever.
Right.
And so with that, it's like, if we talk about Israel,
yeah,
which is not, like you said, Israel was a person.
Yeah.
It was a chosen people.
Yeah.
It is not the country that, you can't say that all of those people in Israel are Jewish. So they're not, they do not embody the full protection of God, of being the chosen people.
Yeah.
And as you said, if when you go into the New Testament, the chosen people have become all of us who have chosen Christ.
Yeah. Right.
And so it's not just, at one point it was because you were born into this group and you followed God through the Torah and all of that, you were the chosen people.
Old covenant.
But that was it. That was then.
Yeah.
And God has, because he is a just and all-loving God, has given us all that favor.
Yeah.
And so, when we just blindly follow them, Israel's a cool country.
Yeah.
Like, they are going to get stuff done. Like I've always said, as a warring nation, you don't war against Israel.
Yeah.
Because if you war against Israel, they are leaving it all on the battlefield. Like
Yeah.
Back when, when I was a kid growing up, it was, you always saw Israel came in with a tank and blew up the whole building. And then the Palestinians were the guys that were running up to the tank, throwing rocks at it. And I literally always was like, stop blowing up buildings, and you take away all of Palestine's ammo.
Yeah.
Because all they have is rocks.
Rubble.
They're only ever throwing rocks at you. And
oh my gosh.
like, just stop blowing up their stuff, and they won't have anything to throw at you or hurt you with.
So bad.
Oh. But at the same point, Israel is that, and honestly, the way they have taken out Iran, like there was the one night they shot from a building on the other side. They shot a low-level missile, blew up the top of the building, killed the 2 guys that they needed to kill, left the bottom of the building and everything else intact.
Yeah.
The other night when they had the drone strike, that they basically fired missiles from drones into certain buildings, blowing up the 7 or 12 different leaders.
Yeah.
And just hit the point, like they are like, and those weren't just like they shot it into the building. They shot it through 3 walls, into the bedroom, killing the guy instantly.
Yeah. No, it's insane. I really think the war is with two evils. And this might be propaganda, but you hear about, well, Israel blew up the last Catholic church in Palestine, whatever, all that stuff. It
Right.
could be propaganda. But I really think it's two evils, and like this is where you have to be careful, because there's a lot of unpopular opinions here.
Right.
But even going back to World War II, even going back to all of that stuff, like who owns the companies in America? Like
Right.
who's behind the scenes here? Trump received the most funding compared to past presidents from Israel than other, and that's just a fact. So
in the Jewish population,
yeah, right.
Jewish leaders,
and I look at even World War II. What was World War II really fought over? Because history, you've heard this before, I'm sure. History's wrote by who won.
Yeah. That's why even if you go in the South during Civil War, like you learn Civil War history, like you grew up a lot in Georgia and in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And Kentucky's a northern state, but at the same time, it still holds a lot of Southern values. But if you learn it down there, it wasn't about slavery as much as completely changing their way of life without any kind of representation.
Yeah.
Without giving them the vote to keep the life the way that they wanted. And slavery is terrible. And I'm not like,
for sure,
yeah, let's keep slavery or anything like that. But we didn't learn any of that in the North.
No.
Like, I didn't learn any of that in Ohio here. I learned that slavery was bad.
And that was the only thing.
And that Lincoln killed slavery.
Yeah.
And then they killed him for it. And really, like, if you start to really get into the history of it, there was a lot more going on than just some slavery going on.
That's really interesting you say that, because you look at, gosh, it's so crazy, because Hitler, like, you cannot say Hitler as, or paint any kind of picture of him as a different man than what the media and what we know him to be. Hitler was evil.
And see, with even you saying Hitler, if we put that slice of you just saying that, our video get banned.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
But you look at, okay, how many Jews were in Germany?
And
so there's that.
I've seen the number. Yeah.
So that's just one thing. You look at the pact that was signed before the war started between Israel and between Germany. And you look at, even they have Hitler's speeches out there now that you can listen to them in English. That's never been a thing before. They suppressed that. Why'd they suppress that? Hitler's talking about they're indoctrinating our kids. They're taking over the classroom. They're taking over all of this. Hitler's ideology when it came to the Assyrian race, I think it's Assyrian, right, was wrong. He obviously had some things wrong. He was, but he had a reason. Yeah. They're taking over Germany. They're taking over our beliefs, our values, what we stand for, and they've done it in America. I really believe they've done the same thing. They've infiltrated, and that's the number one thing that Hitler ran off of, was defending Germany nationalism. Again, not defending Hitler. But.
And like you said, you can, like, history is written by who won.
Yeah.
And we've written that history. And we've said that this is why, and you can tell that it can't be 100%, because Hitler, for one, wasn't blonde. He didn't have blue eyes. I mean, like, there's
like what?
Like, think about like, if they're telling you that your car is a truck, and it's a car and it's not a truck,
Yeah, no, you can't say that there's not things that look off when you look at the World War II.
You can't say that.
Yeah.
Now, where I draw the line is saying that the death camps didn't happen, or Auschwitz wasn't real. Like, I've seen photos from Auschwitz. It's terrible. Like, it was real.
Yeah.
And things like that. Like, I just with traveling the country and buying antiques and collectibles and just seeing people's stuff from World War II. Yeah, there was something going on.
Right. No, evil genocide.
And there were people killed.
Yeah.
It's just like, again, bringing it back to the Civil War, just because we just did, thousands and thousands of people were killed on the
battlefield. I was about to say, how many wars are fought where no one's killed?
Right.
It just,
so you know, there is that. There was a genocide going on. There were people being killed just because of the color of their skin, their whatever, their
Yeah.
race and things
Yeah.
like that. To what number, to what size, to, you know, I mean, I've seen the photos of bodies stacked.
Yeah, but even like
20 and 30 high.
women
Like,
and
just,
women and children, even with like Japan when we dropped Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that's wiped out.
We did the
to
same
make
thing.
to make a statement.
Right.
Like those are innocent women and children that were just demolished.
And what's sad is
and that's controversial. It really is.
It is.
So to
And
this day.
what's sad is that people in an office, thousands and thousands of miles away, made a decision that it was better off for those two bombs to go off than to continue fighting the war.
Yeah.
That less people would be killed if we could stop the war with those two bombs that killed thousands of innocent people. Like, it wasn't a military strike.
Yeah.
It was a strike of don't
statement.
Yeah, it was a statement strike.
For sure.
And that's what's sad about, or what's scary about these times that we're starting to live in, is that wars won't be fought on the battlefield. There isn't going to be a ton of you know, there's never going to be another lineup of my battalion troops across the field from your battalion troop,
right,
firing guns, because it's you know, because at that point we had a mindset that this was how you fight wars, because it was personal.
Yeah.
Like, we were fighting a war because we were personally upset with you guys, or we were personally fighting you.
Yeah.
Now we fight wars on idealism.
Yeah.
And idealism, fighting on idealism, I'm like, I could be in an office here,
just ideals,
running a drone to your house and blowing you up, and it looks to me, my ideals say that you're a video game you know, you're a number that is acceptable to be lost.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And so I think that's where things really get scary, you know, in this time, is that, you know, and that's why we always say, we go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
The government is too big, because it really shouldn't be dealing with you at all.
Yeah.
Your federal government sees you as a number. You are one of the 300 and whatever million people in the country.
Yeah.
And they are in charge to keep you alive, and now they're in charge to keep you in line, and they're also in charge to keep you healthy, or at least alive, you know, with the Obamacare and stuff like that. And then what else are we going to keep, you know, give them the power over us to be, you know, now we have to wear seatbelts.
Right.
And as silly as wearing seatbelts is, you know, it's just the start of a thing.
Yeah, no, it's all just getting ready for it.
Then you can't smoke in your car. You have to wear a mask in your car because of COVID. You can't give your car COVID. You know, that whole thing.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, I can't believe I still see people driving
with
in a car by themselves. I just, oh man,
like, dude, who are you giving COVID to?
Guys,
keeping COVID down. You wear that at the house. You shower with that on.
It's insane.
You keep yourself COVID free.
But like, that's what fear does. That's how strong fear is. They are afraid for their life.
That's it.
Yeah. Gosh, that's what happens when you don't have anything to have faith into.
That's it.
Yeah.
When you don't believe in yourself as much as you don't believe in anything else.
Right.
You know, there's no foundation for your belief.
Right.
So let's slide, move it off to I think we'll actually, you know, we'll meet up again later on here, and we'll talk about the Charlie Kirk stuff. I think we're going to slide away from that.
Yeah.
And just because I want to give it its due. There are a lot of conspiracy theories coming out and things like that I want to explore on an open-minded basis.
Absolutely.
And so that's why, like, I joke about, I'm an equal opportunity, you know, conspiracy theorist. I'll listen to whatever you have to say.
Yeah.
And then I'll make the decision that I feel is the strongest. Like Kennedy, you know, he didn't get killed by one dude.
Right.
You know, that magic bullet, there is no such thing as magic. You know, it's God or it's, evil things happening here. And so there's no way that, that magic bullet just, you know, the magic bullet was real. Like there's 3 bullets in it that came through him,
Yeah.
at least. And you can plot the course from where they came.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to say, well, this guy was over here. This guy got caught because he was on the grassy knoll. This guy was a sniper from over here, and this was a real job.
Yeah.
And I think you can see some of that in the Charlie Kirk stuff.
Definitely a lot there that's being talked about.
The one old guy that shouted in the crowd, "I killed Charlie Kirk to help out." Like that's not a random. Like you don't just you're not that much of an idiot.
No, yeah,
or that much of
a
a zealot. I mean, they're just against Charlie Kirk that you would say, "I was the one who did it,"
right,
on a whim.
Yeah.
So there is a bunch into that, and I think honestly, we need to bring Jay into it also.
Yeah.
And just see what we can get, and see where we go. So
absolutely.
I think honestly, we're just gonna slide that out today because we're at about an hour and a half on it, and we're just we got some other good articles that are enjoyable.
No, that works.
We gotta so we're gonna do that. So in Alaska, they have a contest every year, and we've joined in the last year or 2 here. And this is just it's a fun contest that helps provide money and awareness for the bears. And so basically, they have a fat bear contest every year. This year it was 2 weeks ago. This is what is today, the 10th, 14th? Yeah, 2 weeks ago exactly. September 23rd to the September 30th. I saw it was coming up. I haven't made a podcast since, so this is the first time I've had a chance to talk about it. And just it's the fat bears. They have they basically are raising money for the bears that hibernate towards the end of the year, and they're just raising awareness so that they can keep the habitat well. They keep money funded into the parks. And all that kind of stuff. So this year they had a junior fat bear, which were the younger bears. And so they had the finals between a female cub, which was number like it was 26's 26's cub, and 128's yearling. And 128's yearling definitely destroyed 26's female cub. 20,000 votes to 10,000 votes, roughly plus. So, but if you look through, like, go to the page. It's at it's the I don't even have it. Explore.org, and it's fat bear, fat hyphen bear hyphen week. But I think if you go to explore.org, you can get it, or you can Google search Fat Bear Week, and it's everywhere. But this year's winner was Chunk.
Looks deserved.
He's big, and I've seen him before, like last year. I think he got second, or like he was in the finals somewhere. Like he was either in the quarterfinals or semifinals. Which makes sense because that's a lot of finals there. That's like eight or 10 bears. But anyhow, he was in the top 5 or so bears last year, I think. I don't think he won. I think 128 won last year, if I remember correctly. But there's, there's a bracket, and you can download that and put it on your wall and remember the bears, give the bears some love. But they voted on just basically. I mean, what else do you do? They got that. What's the one? They have the situational website now. That's you bet on just about anything.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention the website so that you don't go making a problem of betting.
Yeah.
But continue the betting. But you can bet on whether Charlie Kirk said, or no, it was Mr. Beast.
What he said.
You can. There's like 4 different options, and then you get a certain amount of money based off of how, if he says it. Like subscribe was one of them. I keep seeing this guy that says I'm doing something crazy, I'm betting $100 a day for the rest of my life
Wow.
just on something.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm up. He's like up $11,000. He's like, but he's down for the month. He's he's on a run, like he's on a week-long run of bad bets.
Yeah.
And he needed a win, so he bet on whether Mr. Beast would say subscribe.
Wow.
It's a pretty good bet that he's
Yeah,
gonna
that
say
is.
subscribe. But it took it down to like 2 seconds left in the video.
Yeah.
And Mr. Beast says subscribe and share or something like that. If you liked our video, subscribe or something. Finally, and he won like $32
Yeah.
off of $100 bet. But so kind of at the same level. Just I'm sure that they had something on there about who was betting on who was going to become the fattest bear.
For sure.
But it definitely looked like they ate good this year. Because like last year they still didn't look like super giant fat. So fat bears, woo! All right. So off of the fat bears, there's another one, and I didn't give you that one because I wanted to see. Yeah, I wanted to see what you were going to say about it. There's a Denver host in Denver that is doing a 31-mile run where the racers have to consistently consume Taco Bell, and I know they've done this a few years now, where it's called like the Taco Bell run or something like that, and you literally are going around and stopping at different Taco Bells around the area, and then they have Taco Bell stations throughout, and you have to literally eat. It says you have to order something at 9 out of 10 Taco Bells, and you've actually got to eat the food. That includes one Chalupa Supreme, one Crunchwrap Supreme, and that's by the 4th stop, and one Burrito Supreme and one Nachos Bel Grande by the 8th stop.
Wow.
So you can't just order a simple taco each time and just like slide a taco down. You have to order some of the bigger things like the burritos and things of that nature too.
No Pepto.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You cannot.
Oh my gosh.
Those are banned. There's our enhancing substances, body enhancing substances for this race.
That would be terrible.
So if you can get through 9 items in 31 miles.
Yeah, no, that's the part I'd be worried about. Gosh.
I mean, that's more than a marathon.
No, yeah.
So, yeah. So you're joining this one, right?
No way.
This is one that like you. I mean, you work out. You do some running.
Yeah, not that much running.
Have do you enjoy running?
In shorter intervals. Than 31 miles.
I'm more of a sprinter.
Yeah, I would say.
I'm quick over like.
I'll run a mile or two, maybe.
Yeah. All right.
Gosh, that's so bad.
I told the girls on our soccer team, one of the girls she was trying to get me to say who was the best player on the team, which you're just like,
right.
When you're that age, you want to know who's the best player on the team. And I said, I'm the best player on the field. And she goes, you can't even run. I said, I don't need to run. I can score from here. I was at the middle line.
Yeah.
And so I had to kick a ball in the goal from the middle.
Wow.
It was a short field, so it wasn't too bad.
But you made it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Definitely put it in. But it was like, listen, it's either, the only 2 reasons you run are running from bears or running to get donuts.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's, if it's bullets, you're supposed to turn around and shoot back.
Yeah. Or go zigzag.
Right.
Yeah, they say zigzag.
Yeah, no, that's too much for me. That's too much running. I'm just going to shoot back.
Yeah.
But yeah, Taco Bell. Somehow they got the Denver, which is crazy that it's in Denver, because Denver is known for its we're gonna eat like random stuff like bugs, and like I ate cricket tacos in Denver.
Yeah.
They were just trying to ban meat packing in Denver, that they couldn't have meat packing butchers in Denver. So I mean that was on the vote. That was on the legislative vote this year.
Wow.
Last November, that to ban meatpacking industry in Denver. So it's weird that, I mean, it's not weird because it is kind of a pretty stoner society. That Denver is every other block there's a dispensary
Wow.
and things of that nature. But so I can see the pros and cons of Taco Bell in Denver.
Yeah, no, oh my gosh. I don't think I could do it. Give you the runs.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, talking about kind of what we were just talking about with the Fat Bears and the whole betting society, is we also had an article that came to my attention that talked about how some dogs can't stop playing with their toys, and it's similar to a gambling addiction.
That's so dumb.
This is a scientific study that they've
Yeah.
done.
Whatever.
For some dogs, the thrill of the chase doesn't fade, and when the ball stops rolling, they'll paw at your couch cushions, skip dinner, and wait at the door for one more throw. It's like a gambling addiction for your dog. Do not allow your dog to play with toys.
That's so dumb.
Some dogs cannot handle
Dogs and kids.
the addiction of toy playing. So yeah, this is where we spend our billions of dollars in
Science.
and research for the country, is into whether the dogs can weather the, like, do we have are we serious about this? Are we getting rehab stations for
Yeah, I
dogs?
know.
Are we, this is, I mean, it honestly, it kind of comes down to the fact of, is this something that, like, is this just a dopamine thing, and anything that you get dopamine from, it can be an
Yeah.
addiction? Like,
Yeah.
this is the honest, real talk about it. Is there really anything that, so are we saying that dogs have dopamine also, and that's how they, and really, in that fact, is it food that does that too? Is that why
Right.
they come back to food? Is that why,
Yeah. No, that doesn't put everything to gambling for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah.
I mean, that's why gambling is an addiction.
Because of the
That's
dopamine.
what they're saying, that you can get addicted to gambling because of the dopamine.
Yeah.
But so you're not really addicted to gambling. You're addicted to the dopamine rush.
Right. Yeah, I would agree.
So, gosh. Testing, they have a test for it. Testing for excessive toy motivation in dogs. This is what we're going to call it. We're going to call it TETM. Yeah, TETM. Testing for excessive toy motivation. Don't let your dog get TETM.
Yeah, get them tested.
Get them tested. You use if he gets over 33 of 105 in the test, he's classified as a high tendency for addiction. So, oh man, this is definitely a good spot to end it. Carson, what have you learned today?
Some interesting things. Yeah.
Oh man,
Learn more about these articles than the other ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. This, some of those are you're giving your opinion. These ones you're like, huh?
Yeah.
People really follow this? Yeah.
Yeah, haven't spent the time yet to think about this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, haven't spent. This is our reaction
Yeah.
times. So yeah, definitely. Get your dog spayed or neutered, and make sure that they don't have a gambling addiction style addiction to toys.
Yeah, that's why cats are better.
Yeah, they didn't say anything about
Yeah,
cats.
I know. Yeah, they have self-control.
Cats have self-control. Cats, land on their feet. Although it's funny, I saw a video about, this is stupid, on Instagram about cats landing on their feet, and then they show a giant caterpillar excavator falling off a cliff.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's
Nice.
cats don't always land on their feet.
Oh wow.
So yeah. With that, I think we're out. Remember to to get on our website. It's at whyamangry.com. Check out our new pages. It should be up here shortly. We'll have affiliate items that we're working on. Books that we're reading, things that we're interested in. Whether it's survival gear or different things like that, and we've got some other things coming that will help us raise awareness and get more following and get out there even more. So it's good having you here, Carson, and
Absolutely.
We'll probably see some more of you.
Sounds good.
Oh, I hit the wrong button.
Yeah.
One more try.
Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcast. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now.